In the heart of the kingdom of Valeria, where golden spires kissed the skies and velvet roses bloomed along palace walls, lived Princess Alina, next in line for the throne. She was no ordinary royal. Her spirit was fiery, her curiosity endless, and her heart, though bound by royal duties, longed for freedom. On the other end of Valeria, hidden in the alleys of the old quarter, lived a boy named Eliot. He lit candles in the cathedral every morning and worked at the baker's shop by night. Orphaned at 8, Eliot knew hunger, loneliness, and the sharp sting of injustice, but he carried an honest smile and a dream of someday painting the world with more than just candlelight. Their worlds were never meant to meet. But fate often has a wicked sense of humor. Princess Alina had grown restless of velvet gowns and empty conversations. One night, during a palace celebration, she slipped past the guards wearing a simple cloak, escaping to the quiet streets of Valeria. She wandered until she stumbled upon the cathedral steps, where the scent of wax and old prayers filled the air. That's where she saw him. Eliot, with soot on his cheeks and a tray of candles in hand, glanced up at the stranger. Their eyes met, hers wide with wonder, his filled with cautious kindness. "You lost?" he asked. Alina blinked, unsure how to answer. "I'm just walking. You shouldn't be here this late. The streets aren't safe." "And yet, you're here," she replied, raising an eyebrow. He smiled. "Someone has to light the candles." That night, they talked about stars, freedom, and dreams. She didn't tell him who she was. And he didn't ask. Days turned into weeks. Alina returned again and again, always in secret. Sometimes to the cathedral. Sometimes to the bakery. They would sit under the flickering lanterns and share stolen bread. He showed her his sketches, tiny artworks made on the backs of flour sacks. "I want to paint someday," he whispered. "Not just candles and stone. I want to paint light." And she would listen, mesmerized, thinking how different this life was from her own. One evening, Eliot handed her a small candle. "What's this for?" "A reminder," he said. "Even in the palace, I'm sure it gets dark sometimes." Alina looked at him, this boy who had nothing, yet gave more than most kings, and felt something strange in her chest. It was warmth. And fear. Because she was falling for someone forbidden. News spread fast in kingdoms. Whispers of the princess's absences reached the ears of Chancellor Belric, the queen's advisor. Suspicious, he ordered a quiet investigation. Meanwhile, Queen Leora, Alina's mother, arranged talks of royal marriage with Prince Kale of Maradonia. An alliance built not on love, but power. When Alina protested, her mother's voice turned cold. "You are a princess, not a child. Your heart must serve the crown." But her heart had already chosen. She rushed to the cathedral that night, tears streaking her cheeks. "I can't see you anymore," she choked. Eliot stood silently. "Then, why? What's happened?" I'm promised to someone else." Silence. A long, aching silence. "You never told me who you were," he said softly. "I was scared you'd treat me differently." "I wouldn't have. But I might have protected myself better." She stepped forward, reaching for him, but he stepped back. "Go," he said, voice trembling. "Before your world swallows you whole." The days turned gray. Alina drowned in royal duties. Fittings, rehearsals, and political meetings became her world. But at night, she would stare at the candle he gave her, now burned halfway, remembering the laughter and light they shared. Eliot tried to forget her. He painted furiously on every scrap he could find, angry, beautiful swirls of red and gold. But her face kept appearing in his art, no matter how hard he tried to erase it. Then came the day of the royal engagement announcement. The palace courtyard was decorated with silks and flowers. Trumpets blared. Prince Kale bowed beside Alina. But in the crowd, someone caught her eye. Eliot. Dirty, tired, holding a bundle of paintings. He hadn't come to stop her. He had come to sell his art. Their eyes met. And the world stood still. That night, the queen summoned Alina. "You looked distracted today." Alina stood straight. "Because I was." "You will marry Kale. You will rule Valeria. That is final." "I don't love him." And love never built empires. Alina clenched her fists. "Then I don't want an empire." The queen rose, eyes burning. "Do not be foolish." Alina didn't sleep that night. She packed a small bag, wore her cloak again, and left the palace, this time not to visit Eliot, but to disappear altogether. But she wasn't the only one with plans. Chancellor Belric, aware of Eliot and Alina's secret meetings, ordered Eliot arrested. "A peasant cannot dare reach for royalty," he spat. The guards stormed the bakery. Eliot fought. He screamed her name. But he was dragged away in chains. Alina returned to the cathedral to find blood on the steps. "What happened?" she demanded of the old priest. "They took him. Your friend, the boy. They said he was a traitor." Alina's hands trembled. Rage burned through her like wildfire. That night, she stormed the queen's chamber. They arrested him. "He did nothing wrong." "He threatened the order," the queen said coldly. "And your reputation." Alina pulled off her crown and threw it on the floor. "Then I want no part of this kingdom." She turned and walked away, heart pounding, unsure of what came next. But destiny had already begun to turn. Word spread of the candle boy and the princess. The people, poor and broken, who loved Eliot for his kindness, began to murmur. At the public square, where Eliot stood shackled, the crowd grew restless. Alina arrived in plain clothes, stepping onto the platform beside him. "This man," she declared, "is not a traitor. He is more honest and noble than most in this court." Gasps. Chancellor Belric raised his staff. "She is bewitched." But Alina held her ground. "If loving someone like Eliot makes me a traitor, then I stand guilty with him." The queen appeared, her face unreadable. Then, slowly, she turned to the chancellor. "Enough." In private, Queen Leora spoke to her daughter. "I once loved a man like him," she said. "A farmer's son. But I chose duty." She looked older, sadder now. "Did you regret it?" Alina whispered. "Every day." A pause. Then, "If you choose him, the throne may never be yours." Alina nodded. "Then I'll build a life, not an empire." The queen gave her a long, hard look. Then, she turned and walked away. And with that silence, she gave her blessing. Years later, in a small village beyond Valeria, lived an artist and a woman who once wore a crown. Their home smelled of fresh bread and candle wax. The walls were covered with paintings of stars, gardens, and golden spires. They were not rich in coin, but rich in light. Every night, Eliot would light a candle and place it by the window, and Alina would smile, resting her head on his shoulder. Because in a world that tried to keep them apart, love had found a way.